This took me a stupidly long time to get to, so let's talk about Mario. Okay, hey guys. So as you know, I'm probably been MIA for the last few weeks. A few reasons for that. The big thing is really just time and energy. There's been a lot going on, and quite frankly, I'm a little overwhelmed right now with how much is happening in my life. It's not all bad necessarily. It's just a lot, and I'm having a hard time juggling everything, including this. So like, I'm still seeing movies. I'm still trying to keep up as much as I can with current releases. It's just been getting harder and harder to do that. And it's just, and that's not my way of saying I'm ending the show, or I'm not going to do this anymore, or anything like that, because I still enjoy doing it, and I do intend to do it. It just means I have to rethink, at least for now, of how I'm doing it. And I think the reality is that it's just too hard to keep up with every mainstream release that comes out, or every smaller release that comes out. And right now, there's just too much, and I just do not have the time to go see 2 or 3 movies a week and maintain like good boundaries and good health and all that stuff. Because right now, I barely have enough energy to get up every morning, let alone go to the movies after work every day. I just don't have it. Would I like to? Yes, I would love to be able to do that, but I'm not in my 20s anymore, so I have to read. I just can't overload myself anymore. That's reality. That's just how things are. So that being said, what we're probably gonna do going forward, kind of like we're doing with this movie right now, which is we'll do our best to cover what we can when it comes out, and if I just run out of time or whatever the case may be, I'm just going to have to just wait for stuff to pop up on streaming or rental and watch it that way, and then I'll record the reviews at that time. Is there anything specific that came out that I missed that I'm not able to watch? Please leave a comment, tell me what it is. If it's something released in theaters or something like that, I will do my best to make time to go see that. With that being said, let's talk about the first movie that came out a few weeks ago that I have, I've seen twice now, and I just have not had time to watch, actually talk about it, which is the Super Mario movie, which is the newest movie by Illumination. I think it already went streaming again like a week or so ago. I could be wrong. That has Chris Pratt and Charlie Day and Jack Black and Anna Taylor-Joy. Which of course was a massive, colossal hit, because of course it was Mario. It was always going to be a huge hit, but this thing just went fucking huge. And what do I think about it? I think it is fine. Which I feel like is very anticlimactic, considering how long it took me to get this review out there. But yeah, it is a perfectly fine film. And it's kind of created this very interesting discourse among, discourse. I was kind of use that term loosely, about like people saying like, oh, people were mad that it wasn't amazing, or that it wasn't like subversive, or there wasn't like this, that it wasn't like the Lego movie. Was a few comparisons I've heard. Not like the Lego movie, but like, oh, like movies like this that are very obviously kind of more corporate and by the books and by the numbers and all that stuff, that aren't these amazing products that they could be, like the Lego movie, which was very subversive and very groundbreaking for what was obviously pitched as a cheap cash grab. This movie is not that. This is a movie that's very clearly aimed at toddlers, like 4 or 5 years old, give or take. And I think by that metric, it's perfectly fine. I think by Illumination standards, the animation, it looks really good. Actually, I think the way they handle like the characters is good. I like what they did with Jack Black. I think does a great job as Bowser. I like how they kind of made him more of a simp character. That makes sense for Bowser. It's like, okay. And I think another reason why I'm not like upset that this isn't like the deepest, most complex animated movie for kids out there, or that it's not trying to be one of those kids movies that's also great for adults, is because one, Mario as a property doesn't really have the most complex story, and I've heard that there were some limitations of what they could do with the story, but that's hearsay. I have no idea if that's true. And two, I'm also of the mind that it's okay for some kids' movies to just be for kids. I really think that is okay. It is okay to have toddlers have a character, or have a movie, or have a franchise that's just for them. Not everything needs to be tailored for people like me. It is okay to let a kids' movie be a kids' movie. And I do kind of take umbrage with the notion that everything also needs to be tailored for adults. Like, now, I don't think this should be cynical or bad, and I'm not using a kids movie as synonymous with bad. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not saying like every kid's film out there has to be this watered down, dumb as shit thing. But it's okay for a film like this that kind of walks the line in the middle, that isn't trying to be anything more than what it is, that isn't trying to break ground with the Mario property, that isn't trying to be this big, iconic film that's going to teach these these very complex lessons. It's not that, and I think it's okay. I think we need to let it be okay. This isn't like Minions 2 that was very cynically made and very much like jingle keys in front of the kids. That's like stuff that's legitimately not helpful in the long term, I think, to children. But movies like this, I think, are perfectly fine. It's okay to just be entertaining and be adequately made and be enjoyable for what it is. That being said, let's address some other parts of this movie that I know get a lot of flack, which is Chris Pratt as Mario. I don't know if I'm going to be in the minority or not in this, because I don't really know what the consensus is these days. I do think of the cast, he is one of the weaker ones on there, but I think it's fine. I really do. I think Chris Pratt does a perfectly fine job as Mario. I like the voice he does. I think it works for the film. Would have been cooler if they can get the original voice to do it? Sure. But I don't know if you ever tried to do that voice in an actual conversation, but it's fucking hard. And it's clearly not meant to last over an hour and a half of film. I know this because I've done gigs as Mario. I've used that voice. It's really fucking hard to maintain a conversation doing that goddamn voice. So I'm definitely sympathetic to the need to, like, okay, they don't want to go that direction. Fair enough. I understand it. Could they cast better than Chris Pratt? Sure, because especially compared to like Jack Black as Bowser or Charlie Day as Luigi, like they're better cast than Chris Pratt is. But Chris Pratt carries the movie fine. I would say probably the most surprising cast that you wouldn't think works, but does kind of work, is Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. Works surprisingly well. I really liked how they did his characterization. And honestly, he's probably my favorite characters of the film. Even though Seth Rogen is doing absolutely nothing to his voice. He is just playing he's just doing like grumpier Seth Rogen. But for some reason, the way they wrote this character, it kind of works. And that's kind of what summarizes this whole movie bit. Like, it's mostly just a whole bunch of Easter eggs. It's a whole bunch of like, hey, you know, Mario Kart, you love Mario Kart. Here's how we're justifying putting Mario Kart in here. Here's how we're justifying putting in the Donkey Kong people in this movie. Here's how we're like justifying a whole bunch of silly shit that's in the Mario property that we're going to justify throwing in here. And that's kind of the movie. And again, I think that's fine. I am definitely not of the opinion that mid is bad, which is something I find very annoying when it comes to film conversations, film Twitter in particular. Granted, I think that represents a very small population of film people, because it's Twitter. It only represents 5% of the population. It's not a good metric to measure how people think about things. But anyway, I think I'm a defender of mid. I think most things are mid, and that's okay, because if everything was higher up, then the standards would just be higher to get past that, and whatever is the higher echelon would eventually be mid. And stuff like Across the Spider-Verse, which is a movie I also saw that I haven't got a chance to review yet. Wouldn't be able to stand out as much. Mid is okay. Mid is okay to like mid. You're not bad for liking mid. Learn to be okay with just things being okay. And I know this is more of I feel like me on my soapbox as opposed to a review, but I don't really have much else to say than I think it's well animated. I think it's probably the best Illumination has done. It definitely has a different style than Illumination typically tends to do, and I think it looks good. It looks like Mario. It feels like Mario. And when we get the inevitable sequel, which you know is coming, it's going to be more $1 billion. I would be curious to see where they take that. And if maybe they will start pushing in the other direction, but it's Illumination, so I'm not counting on it. But it does also feel like this is Illumination holding back its worst tendencies. It feels more balanced. It feels more structured. It feels like there was definitely more care put into this than the average Illumination film. And I'm happy to see that. I'm happy that they're trying to take that direction, because I'll admit I was really scared that we're just going to get Minions, but with Mario. We don't, and this isn't that. This does feel like it was trying to pay as much justice to the property as they were allowed to do, while still also, of course, being Illumination writers, and not pushing the envelope too far as to alienate their audience. So I think on the whole, it works. If I were to give a number, I'd say I'd give it a solid 7. I think it's entertaining. I think you've probably already seen it by now, so I don't really know how much I can add to the conversation. But that being said, I hope you enjoyed this particular conversation. And if you have movies that came out that I have not seen yet, please leave a comment below. If you'd like me to review that film, I will try and make time for it to the best of my abilities. I'm going to start making a list and just kind of try crossing them out over the course of the year. Because I know, like, The Machine is out, and I'm probably not going to be able to have time to go see that. There was another crappy Robert De Niro movie that came out that I'm probably not going to be able to see, that I should watch because I need more movies for the worst stuff list. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which I'm going to review right after I'm going to talk about this one, also came out. And then, of course, Me Muha Fast X, which we also need to talk about as well. So there's a lot that I'm working to catch up on. Thank you all for your patience with me, and I'm going to try my best to find a good balance in how to keep this channel going while we wait for the bigger projects, which is, of course, like the video essays. And background, if you have not watched it already, The Many Deaths of Layla Starr, which is a video I'm very personally proud of, that kind of hasn't been doing quite as well as I wanted to. So if you can find it in your heart, I appreciate you guys checking that out, giving us some feedback. That would be really helpful, because that was also a memorial to my mom who passed away last year. So that video was very, very personal to me, and it would just be nice if it got more recognition than it did. But I think other than that, we're starting to get production going on the season finale of the editorials, which is our Wonder Twins video, which is something I spent almost a year researching and writing. So I'm very anxious about getting that one done, but it's going to take a long time. So we're going to keep the content flowing between now and then. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you all later. Bye.